Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Those Two Geeks. He's Alex, I'm Joe, and we got a big topic for the show today. It's tall order for sure.
One could almost say it's a giant topic.
Yeah, it's a giant topic to be exact. And so we'll just launch into it because I don't know how many size puns I can do, but.
We've got a couple.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since we've had a good toy nerd out.
Yes. Yeah.
It has. It's obviously going to happen again more frequently now that Hasbro have launched their Marvel Legends Haslab for Giant Man, which should come as no surprise for anyone who has been following their social media for the last few days. The numerous nerd site speculation, right? Like there's been so much assumption that it's going to be Giant Man. So we'll launch right into first thoughts because I know we're oddly enough on a time strap today.
We're on a time trap today, but for a good reason.
And you'll find out more about that next week.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, it was no surprise, but what was a surprise was how it came out and how it was handled. And I'll be dead. I'll just go right out the gate. I backed it right away.
Here's the thing. I have thoughts on this.
Yep.
The price point is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
For what you get for a 24-inch figure, I think the price is really fair. I think it's really smart that they didn't include other figures with it.
Yeah.
Because you just get the faceplates, which the faceplates are, if you want to have Giant Man versus Skrull Giant Man or Zombie Giant Man, you're going to get another Giant Man if it gets those tiers. I think that's for $400, that's reasonable to get two of those.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of the stream. I'm just going through the page itself is laid out really well. I think like the mini comic story thing that they give is great. It shows the different heads he's got. All said and done for the 24-inch figure that they're offering up, I think it's already 35% funded within a day or two. So I think we're going to see this get funded. So here's the thing for me, and you're going to probably shake your head at this. I actually wish he was about 6 inches shorter.
Yeah, a lot of people said that.
And I have no horse in the race. I don't have an Avengers display. Giant Man was never going to be on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
But at 24 inches, when Galactus is 32.
32, yeah.
But a good chunk of that 32 is the horns on Galactus's head.
Right.
I feel like you shouldn't have Giant Man being able to go toe to toe with Galactus. Toe to toe with the Sentinel is different.
Yeah, and he can go toe to toe with the Sentinel.
He can go toe to toe with the Sentinel. But I think toe to toe with Galactus is I think they limited themselves with scale when they made Galactus the size they did.
Yeah.
Because how else are you going to do it? Like, how big is he meant to be, right?
I mean, they couldn't have made Galactus 4 feet. It would have been too much. Yeah.
Right. So at that point, like, well, do you make the Sentinel a little bit shorter? It should, anyway, I mean, this is a complete nerd topic at that point that you're not gonna get a win for. But I'm really impressed with Giant Man. Like when your only complaint is, he's a bit too big.
Yeah.
Like if they had shaved off or scaled him down so he's like between 15 to 18 inches.
That's too small in my view. I think he would have to be at least 20.
See, and that's just like there's so many people that have a different opinion as to how big he should be. And again, like no horse in the race for me. I'm just thinking about my display spaces. He would just fit, I think. But again, like at 18, 20 inches, you could And the reason I say 15 to 18 is you could probably shave off about $20 if you did that. Whereas I think, you know what I mean? Like if you can shave off 6 inches, it's almost more plastic than an actual figure. So maybe you could have either shaved them down, kept them at 200, and then just done a pack-in Hank Pym on a lab coat body or something like that. Something that isn't exclusive to the Giant Man thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like I even appreciated how the Marvel Legends team came out and they said we didn't want to do any more figures because we didn't want to hide any desirable figures behind a paywall. Yeah. They learned this lesson last time. It burned them big time. Listen, they played this Haslab as extremely safe as humanly possible.
I think so.
They need a W. And they went in and they said, okay, it's going to be Giant Man. We knew it was Giant Man. Everything in the world led to Giant Man. And they also gave you the tiers right up front. No, like, oh, we'll wait and see and we'll announce it. Nope, just boom, here's what you're getting. Here's what you can get. If it funds, great. If not, back to the drawing board. But I think this thing's going to fund. Like anything.
I will be shocked if this is genuinely one. If it doesn't fund, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, me too. Like anything else, it will taper off for a little while. It will hit like a wall and it will start funding slowly. And my assumption is around like the 5,000 or 6,000 mark, it will start doing that. But we got 46 days left.
Well, that's just it. So right now, 44 days, 12 hours, and it's at 34.69. So it's almost at 3,500. It's jumped 3 backers since I've just refreshed the page in 10 minutes. So it's very much a Haslab that people want, that people are excited for. Oddly enough, watching the mini comics, I was like, man, I kind of hope it's that Cityscape. Like that,
we're saying.
Right? I was like, I wouldn't be opposed to that if they did that in a pack-in. Like if that was in the box or something, like that would be something I would have been quite happy for as well.
Yeah, Marvel Legends have a really daunting task of trying to please the Marvel Legends fan base, which are very difficult to please.
Mm-hmm.
And that Star Wars and Marvel Legends are a hard nut to crack. Like G.I. Joe has it easy. They just coast.
Yeah.
Everyone loves the classified stuff. They're like, whatever you give them, they're like over the moon with all the time.
It's because they seem to have G.I. Joe has captured the age group where it was the kids that had the toys. Now you're getting a bigger, better version of it. They're doing vehicles and everything again, but they have the playbook of these are the ones who are re-releasing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Marvel Legends, they've had Marvel Legends going since 20 years or more.
Yeah, it's over.
So now but now we want this character, but you got to redo this one and now this costume and
it's crazy to think that they still got more that they can do.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Marvel Legends, catalog is just so vast. Like, I can't believe they even have more to do. I'm like, how? But they do.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
But people were like, oh, we should have got, Yellow Jacket. I agree. I would have loved the 6-inch Yellow Jacket.
But you know what? We all would have rather a 6-inch Yellow Jacket coming out as a standalone release as opposed to being locked behind this, right? Because if Yellow Jacket was locked behind Giant Man, or someone didn't want Giant Man but wanted Yellow Jacket,
yeah, exactly,
right? Like we know what the reaction would have been.
Yeah, they'd get crucified, and they said that they're like, all the figures you want, we know you want. We're getting them to you in regular releases soon. Mm-hmm. But when you put it into the perspective of with the price, they nailed this price as well as they possibly could.
I agree.
I watched David Display's Model Behavior. He said, it was a little too expensive. Yeah, maybe by $25, if that. Because when you look at this thing, it is completely 110% new sculpting and tooling. Mm-hmm. No reuse, all pinless. It's basically a scaled up version of the Renew Your Vows box. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And then you got
just hands. The hands are what's impressive, right?
Oh, the hands. And then how about the zippers sculpted in behind the boot? Like, he's got zippers. Like, I mean, they killed this thing. And then the articulation for them to go, like, that's where Dwight shines with the engineering part, where the harness will, shift around so that you can bend and half crunch him.
I did not see the zippers in the boots until you told me.
No, I know. It's details like that. Every little part of that figure has texture on it, like basketball texture, and like it's a beautiful figure. And then they're doing some new technology with the faceplate, where it's a mask, like a real, and then they're shoving the faceplate underneath with the eyes and the mask. And then they did a realistic eye system where there's like a gloss over it and all that, where it looks like an eye. Like, I mean, they really killed this thing. They did a great job, and I'll be devastated for them if it actually doesn't fun. Because, I mean, then it's like, what do you want, nerds? Like, I mean, you clamored for a Giant Man. This one is the one. Like, I actually heard a couple people yesterday say, "Oh, I got my old Toy Biz one. I think get the fuck out of here, man."
No, this is gonna blow Toy Biz out of the water.
Toy compared to this thing. I know it held up for a while because it was the only game in town, like Mojo was.
Yep.
Come on, man. This thing is above and beyond. And then when you look at it with what you're getting, 24 inches, double the size of a Hot Toy, double the size of Super Adapt toys, and $100+ less than a Hot Toy, with so much intricate detail. And it's like, okay, so it doesn't have cloth goods. No big deal. It has 91 points of articulation. You might be able to get this guy in a Spider-Man crouch, they said. Like, imagine that. I mean, I'm so excited for it. I'm glad they went with, I have a couple points. 1 point, so glad they went with the very classic costume. It wasn't, Tales to Astonish first appearance, but it was Avengers 2. And I'm very glad they went with that costume. That's my favorite Giant Man costume. So I'm happy with that. I would have liked only one figure. Yes, a yellow jacket for sure, but if you can't get that behind a paywall, I don't see why they couldn't have gave us a 6-inch Hank Pym in the Giant Man suit, just so you have both.
I wonder if that's coming.
Yeah, that's what someone was saying, but but as far as like Wasp goes, Ultron, and like these secret characters, people would have lost their shit. Like, I know a personal one that somebody said, they were going to do the Avengers Crystal in this as a tier. Now, as somebody who loves Crystal, I would have freaked out if I wasn't buying Giant Man, because and that's what they had to combat, and they know this. And I think they did a great job. I think they did a good job of gracefully admitting that they failed miserably the last time. And they said, it's no one likes to fail, but it taught us a lot. And the price point was the major thing. If this thing came out at another $350, like all the other Marvel Legends Haslab,
I think if it had a 2 in front of it instead of a 1, people would be upset. Like, if it was $225 or $224.99, people wouldn't be happy.
Yeah, I think so too. But I mean, could you imagine this thing was $349?
No, absolutely not.
And I was worried that they were going to do that, because Marvel, Hasbro is a corporation. They're a mega corporation, and they don't usually give a shit about, like, our bottom line. But they did a good job, and I think they need to be commended on it. And you could tell it was quite a passion project. They said they don't even know what the next Haslab is. They're going to start the discussions this week.
I like that they start getting it. Well, I mean, it would make sense that they start getting it. Getting that in place, but
well, I think they also want. There's a lot of predictions that this will fund by the end of next week, and I think that's very accurate. If it keeps up with the trajectory, it could fund this weekend, but I don't think it will fund this weekend. These always have a tendency to start out super mega hot and then they taper off. Look what happened with the Dragonfly.
That's true. That's true.
All the way to 12,000 or whatever. No, 11,000. And then whatever it needed to fund, that last 1,000 was like pulling teeth. It took like a week to get that last 1,000. So I think you'll see this hit 5,000 comfortably. Then maybe like 55, 56, it starts slowing down for a week or two. But there's no doubt in my mind that if this thing was like 8,000 2 days before, this thing would smash through. It would make it, because no one's going to leave that on the table. You know?
I think they've hit the right balance of backers and price.
Yes, absolutely. And then the other thing is, they admitted last time that they had no idea what they were doing with the figure tiers, that they just hodgepodged them all together. They were like, we weren't sure what to offer. And people were like, this wasn't the Ghost Rider we wanted. 60th anniversary of Ghost Rider, you could have gave us Danny Ketch.
They could have done Danny Ketch, given us a bike and Danny Ketch, and then the villains from, like, even the same villains would have been fine. And have that shown up as the Ghost Rider rather than Robbie Reyes with a car. Yeah. And could they have done two bikes for the same, two bikes for the same price with everything? I think so. I think people would have been over the moon with that.
I think you could have done like an electronic with effects bike, really nice, not the Riders one that we had in the store before, the basic one. No, like nice airbrushed silver, like really detailed bike with a little bit of LEDs and some flame effects that were LEDs on the bike. You could have done a pack of two of them for like $225 with Ghost Rider and you could have got a Johnny Blaze redo and a Ghost Rider and a Danny Ketch redo. Then you add in, Blackheart. You add in, what's his name? The son of Satan. I forget his name.
Oh, Damien Hellstrom.
Damien Hellstrom, like all that shit. Then you add that in and sweeten the pot. You give effects and whatever.
I'm honestly a proponent for effects being tiers.
Me too. If they're done well.
Yeah, exactly. Like if that's one of the earlier tiers, then I think that's a great thing. If you want to make oh crap, we blew through these tiers. What else are we going? Do we add anything else? Should we add anything else? That's when you can start adding figures to it.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Like, you need to be able to be like, all right, what do we have left in the back office? You know what I mean? It's because they were struggling with that Hell Charger so bad. When they blew out Mephisto just to like try to get it. And I honestly, I remember being on the stream with you and, our stream. And I was like, if they reveal Mephisto, this thing's going to get made in the shade. And it did nothing. It did like 600. Because it wasn't that people didn't want Mephisto. It was, they were so pissed the way it rolled out, because it was rolled out very sloppily, very like disingenuous the way they did it. Like, hey, look what you're getting for $350, and it was like, no. Like, that really bothered people. They were like, fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
And it made you feel like you were taken for granted by the Hasbro team, and we didn't like it. So we were like, no.
Yeah, no, we don't need it that bad.
No, this time I think they hit their niche. There's definitely more Avengers fans than there are Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
For sure. And, they were asked on the streams, and not on that. I watched on Parallel Universe's stream yesterday too. I watched a bunch of people's opinions on this. And he had Ryan Ting on there for about 2 hours, which was great. And that was unique, because Ryan Ting doesn't do those. But I have a lot of respect for Ryan Ting. I think the Hasbro team in general, I like Dan, I like Dwight, and I like Ryan a lot. When it's shitty marketing, I don't feel like it's coming from them. I feel like
no, absolutely not.
And they're getting slammed with it, and they're trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and they're trying to tell you and sell you, but they know that it's a disingenuous thing. So when he was like asked last night on Parallel Universe's stream, he was like, "What are the odds of us getting another vehicle for a Haslab?" And they said, listen, we haven't decided what the next Haslab is. We have a couple ideas kicking around, but they said we still have more giant sized, like oversized characters we can do. And they feel like that's their wheelhouse. I mean, it's hard to argue with them. The Sentinel, successful. Galactus, the most successful Haslab still. It was 30,000+. Nothing's come up to that.
Which you and I were so wrong about Galactus, because we the rate it was going, like I can see Galactus actually not funding, or at the very least not getting as far as we were expecting it to, because it took forever at the beginning.
Yeah, I thought it was going to fund with one tier.
Yeah.
And the thing, it hit 2,000 like immediately, like coming out of the stream. And then it just was like crickets for a while. And so the past like 7 days, it was doing like not much. And then it just boom.
And then all of a sudden, I think they revealed the rest of the tiers, and then people are like, oh, okay, mine. And just
that last 24 hours was key. That last 24 hours, everyone had FOMO and bought it.
Yeah, it's because we had said that we think the Sentinel did really well because people army built it, but you don't get people army building Galactus. And I think having the scroll head for Giant Man, that I think is going to help. People are going to be like, all right, I need that scroll head too. If I'm in for if I'm in this for $200, I might as well be in it for a bit more and get the scroll head.
And then that's something idea I'm kicking around right now is like, it's basically the price of one regular Haslab, and I'd get two. One for a day to either sell because it might go up and boom, or, one to have a scroll head on where, Hank will have his regular head. But people also forget that Galactus has a zombie head as well. So you can have zombie him against zombie Galactus. And people are really upset. Like I said, they have a hard job because we're tough to please. I'm not that tough to please, but a lot of these people are fucking tough. And, they have a tough road. And they were like, well, we made purposely the zombie Hank Pym head as the same color as the other zombie figures that have been released already. And I thought that was very clever because now you have like an ensemble of them to go around your Giant Man zombie. But then, of course, you get the nerds and the sticklers who are like, yeah, but those are MCU. This is comic-based. It doesn't go together. And it's like, dude, it's your fucking collection in your world. You want to have Ninja Turtles fighting Galactus, you can. Like, who cares?
The thing is that it can go together, right? Like, there's nothing stopping it. Like, yes, Iron Man is an MCU Iron Man, but realistically, I think Iron Man is the most versatile character who can be displayed either MCU or not.
Yeah.
You can get any Iron Man if you like the armor and have him stand in for a modern Iron Man.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right. You can't do that for like a classic Iron Man, like with the modular armor or whatever. But for a modern Iron Man, for anything from the last 20 years, you can have Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark as or Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man as your comic-based Iron Man, because realistically, so much of the armor from the movies has inspired what you see in the comics and vice versa that it's interchangeable. Does it work? Does it work for Captain America? To a degree, I think it does. Like the costume, to a degree, I think you can switch it over. I think those two are the ones that you're gonna have the most success with.
Yeah.
Anything after that, it gets a little bit more dicey.
Right.
And not because I think any of the other character figures aren't as good. I think that they're just a bit too detailed for what you get typically, in the comics, or rather in the like the comic sphere of action figures. Again, personal opinion, but
no, I think like they did it as well as they absolutely possibly could. The sculpting was with care. There's no painted on elbow, gloves or boots, like no paint lines. They're all sculpted, and they're really deceptively sculpted too. You have to if you look at this thing at the front render, just from afar, it looks like it's just a painted buck. But then when you go in and zoom or whatever, it is very, very intricately detailed. They can't reuse this for anything. And even the stitching lines on all the gloves, and they just did this as well as they possibly could.
Yeah, and like the only things they could possibly reuse I'm looking at the front of the body. Is the torso,
Right.
the arms to below, like you couldn't reuse the forearms, but you could do the hands and the rest of the arms.
Yep.
And maybe the thighs and knees and the boots and the feet of the boots.
Right.
Like, and then depending on if you're doing a character who wears like a different textured trunks to shirt, you could reuse the crotch area as well.
Yeah,
Maybe. But like I don't see that being a thing. Like, unless they're gonna do, hey, we're putting out another Giant Man.
Right.
Which you could do, because there are so many characters who have had that power set.
People said that, there was an argument that, this should have been at like Target as an exclusive or Walmart or whatever, or in the stores. This had too high a price tag for this thing to be in the store. For the casual like aisle. Yeah, you can argue that Lego goes for $300 in the stores and whatever. That's Lego. It's totally a different animal.
Lego is if you were going to do this in a retail thing, the only place you could realistically retail it would be Amazon, and specialty stores, like maybe GameStop, maybe.
Yeah, GameStop, a toy store, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like I don't think you could convince Target to do it. And if you could, they would do, well, we're only getting one in, because we're not tying up that much inventory on this when we don't know it's going to sell.
Not even that much space.
Yeah, well, that's just it, right?
To be about like between Sentinel and Galactus size, it's going to be. So, that's going to be a massive box. You couldn't have like 4 of those out on the shelf.
No, they'd only have one.
Yeah. And then what would be good on that? So like, I don't know. When Hasbro does something right, when Marvel Legends does something right, I feel they deserve to be praised, and they absolutely need to be praised on this position.
I agree.
They did a fantastic job. I don't know who else they could have done, and what they did somehow, some way, was make it a character that I was like, yeah, I like Giant Man, but I'm not so fussed that I need him for sure. They made it that it was like a can't miss for me. I was like, oh my God, I need this. Like, I was overwhelmed by the faceplate and the head. But I didn't care. Base offering was so good that I was just like, fuck it. This is a steal.
Yeah, like that's just it. Like, I would have been shocked if you hadn't backed this, if I'm honest.
Yeah, look at the Hasbro. Look at the Marvel Legends Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure, what he goes for on the aftermarket right now. Like, at the very least, I think he's 175. He has gone upwards of 400 before. That won't happen again because of this offering. But he will probably stay at around 175, somewhere around that area, because he's vintage and all this and that. And here's the thing. For $25 more, you get a fucking 2-foot figure with every bell and whistle you can think of.
And it's also new, and probably is going to be, I assume there's going to be some kind of customer support behind it. Not a warranty per se, but if it fucks up, hey, what happened with this, right?
Yeah. Now let's face it, the figures, they're Build-A-Figures, but when you put them together, they're loose. They loose very easily. And like, I don't know anybody who has that Giant Man figure still from Toy Biz that it doesn't have loose joints. It has loose joints because it's just the connections to make the Giant Man figure alone. It's like, you know what I mean? So I praise them. They did a stellar job. I'm very happy. I really hope they get a sound, comfortable win where they're not sweating for like a month and, they're like, okay, we did it. And, and if they do, which I think they will, I like I said, I would be utterly shocked if this thing doesn't back. But that's their wheelhouse. Giant, huge, oversized characters. That's their wheelhouse. That's what they have to elevate. And, now what they said, they still have plenty of them left. I'm not sure what they have left other than an Onslaught, a really true to size Onslaught.
But even Onslaught's not as big as Giant Man.
No. You do
right, like he would be bulky, but not huge. Like not super tall. I think you'd have Fin Fang Foom.
Fin Fang Foom, I think, is the obvious next one, for sure.
Yeah, I think so. Especially if there's a Fantastic Four anniversary or anything like that.
Yeah, and you know what? You could have put Jarvis in as a pack-in, but then again, you might run into the situation where everyone wants Jarvis, and then they're pissed he's stuck behind the paywall.
What you would do though is put in you do the head and you put it on just a suit body or like a new bulky suit body.
Yeah.
And you just say like there will be a Jarvis released single card eventually. However, it will not be this version of Jarvis. Like maybe there's an accessory in there that you can't get, like something that makes it unique. Like I don't know, make like I can't picture what you would do for Jarvis beyond the different hair color or glasses or something, but maybe the Jarvis, the Jarvis with this has glasses that completely white out the eyes like the retro card of Peter Parker does. Yeah. And then the one that's released later on has the glasses coming a bit further down something like that. Or even the same glasses, but they're not whited out. Or there's like he has a tray with a couple of things on it, whereas the other one doesn't have that. Something in it simple like that, but make it known that if you don't get this, you can still get Jarvis later.
And I think that's how it should be with all the Haslab offerings. I think it's like we're willing to pay a premium price, so we should get a premium reward. So like, if we want Yellow Jacket first, we should get him first. And then there'll be another release of him, but slightly different deco, or this Yellow Jacket has shading and it's a little bit more premium deco than it is.
You get an extra Yellow Jacket head, right? Like if you do the Haslab, you get an additional Yellow Jacket head, but if you do the other one, you only get one of the heads.
Right, and I think that's fair. I mean, but I get their hesitancy this time. I mean, they really played it safe. They were like, okay, how do we not piss people off? And you could tell they're very worried about it. And they're like, what do we do? Because they're shell-shocked. They got their asses whooped.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rancor was off by like 500 or 600. That's it.
Yeah, the Rancor was very close.
The Hellcharger wasn't even in the ballpark. It wasn't even close.
And the funny thing with the Rancor is, I think if they'd have waited a couple of weeks, like a month to launch it, they probably would have had the prototype in hand and ready. And then you would have also been able to tie into the fact that in Book of Boba Fett, you had Rancors at the end, right? Like you could have tied that in that much better. Like
who wouldn't have wanted to have their Boba Fett ride the Rancor? Like it would have worked.
Yeah, like that's just it. Like I just think that the Rancor, the thing that fucked the Rancor over was timing. I think it would have passed, would have funded, had the timing been better. And I would love, I think if they revisited the Rancor, I think they would probably have a different success level.
I think
if they adjusted the pack-ins and the tiers.
Yeah.
I mean, even the tiers may not do it, but had you adjusted the Rancor and base figure slightly, and then not had that Luke as the final thing, it's like, yeah, it's fine, but we know that Luke's coming out anyway, right? Like that's not.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, I got a few more minutes.
Okay, I was gonna wrap us up because I know you had a time. We had a very finite time crunch today, so
I do, but I got like 5 more minutes. I want to kind of like enjoy it because like I'm thrilled about this Haslab. It's like it feels like
when was the last time a Haslab came out that we were both almost 90% enthusiastic for?
I can't remember because his tank was all me.
Yeah, I was entirely indifferent to it because I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. No,
I think the his tank might have been it. Like I thought it was really good, but I acknowledged that it just didn't do it for me. Like I wasn't going to get it, but I acknowledged the value was there.
Yeah.
Same with Giant Man. Like it's not likely I'm going to back Giant Man for reasons already stated, but if I had an Avengers collection, there would be no way I wouldn't be backing it. Same with the his tank. If I was into GI Joe, there's no way I wouldn't back it.
And the Avengers collection is you really only like for this iteration of Giant Man, you only need like 4 figures. You need Cap, Iron Man, Hulk, and
Thor.
Yeah, Iron Man, Hulk, and Thor. Yeah.
And
And
honestly, I actually have Thor, Hulk, and Cap already.
right. And then you need Iron Man, you need Wasp, and that's it. You don't need Black Panther. You don't need Black Widow.
No.
As a part of this. But the cool thing is, it's classic enough and updated modernly with a modern sensibility that it works with Black Widow. It works with Doctor Strange. It works with all those. It's a universal figure like Galactus was.
Mm-hmm.
You could plug it in your display. And the one thing I'm looking forward to the most when I get it is positioning him and like posing him down on one knee, like kneeling on one knee and like holding his hand out and having somebody in his hand.
Mm.
Wasp is out at that time, I'll have Wasp in his hand. You know what I mean? Because you can do things like that. You can't pose Galactus like that. Galactus has good posability for a figure that size, but he's not doing crouches and he's not bending.
Yeah. That makes sense. And that's just it. Like, it's the people are already super excited about the possibilities of this.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's
essentially getting a Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Like, that's just like you can see the articulation in the render as you're looking at it. It's like if you can pose the retro body Spider-Man in any position other than weight, I would wager you could do the same with this guy, if not a bit more, because his fingers have more articulation than my hands do.
Has way more dexterity and it's able to do all this stuff, and it's like it's just really, really cool. Like I'm really happy for people who wanted this so bad, and I'm happy for myself because it's a reasonable figure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad it didn't back the Ghost. The Ghost, I'm not gonna lie, it looked fucking really cool. The Ghost was very impressive, but I already have the Razor Crest, and I made that like my Star Wars big ship. Like I got no reason to have a fleet of ships. So like I haven't even watched Ahsoka yet. So like it's like, how bad do I want the Ghost? I'm not even watched it yet. So yeah, it's incredible. I mean, this was a great offering. They did a fantastic job. I commend them. I think this should back. I don't think it will be a stress backing. I think it won't back within the first week. I think it will back somewhere, I don't know. I think maybe like third week of September it will back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I fully expect it'll be back by October.
It'll be back before October starts. That's what I feel.
Yeah. I would be stunned if it wasn't. Yeah,
but I would also expect, let's say hypothetically, and this was the last thing I say, let's say hypothetically this thing smashes the goals and comes out of, next week fully funded, all tiers. For our diligence and for our, part in it, Marvel Legends, Hasbro should then throw in a secret tier and be like, wow, thank you for the overwhelming support that we needed, blah, 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 blah. Everyone gets this. You know what I mean? Like, make it a figure. Like I said, make it a yellow jacket, but just say, hey, remember, this is just an exclusive yellow jacket. The regular yellow jacket's coming next year.
Exactly. Yep.
What I want to do, too, I am so curious to see if there's a customizer out there who's going to make a soft goods lab coat for this.
Oh, I would be shocked if they aren't already drawing up plans, even if it's a case of they don't know how to size it just yet.
That's a must get for me. That's all right, I want a soft goods lab coat for this guy. So, I mean, it's really cool. The only other thing I could have done with is you could have got a giant unmasked Hank Pym head. Would have been great, too.
Yeah.
But I mean, they did what they did, and they did a great job, and I'm really happy. It's nice to have a Haslab that we're both on the same page. Like, this is excellent. This is great. I still say the worst Haslab of all time had to be the what's her name's lightsaber.
Oh, what? Absolutely.
Good God, that was.
I was looking at the Haslabs out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah, they needed 5,000 backers for that and got 1,413.
Yeah. They weren't even close. They were fucked. So yeah, no, it's a great thing. Definitely glad you came on today. I gotta head out now for sure, and You know, I'm gonna just be watching this thing. I was refreshing it all day yesterday, and it was making some huge leaps when I would refresh it. I was like, what? So I'm very impressed. I'm very, very impressed. We'll see where it goes. We'll definitely be talking about it more.
Oh yeah, expect more.
All right.
Folks, you know where to find us. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.